If you are in the crypto market right now and you're watching this, $1 billion just got liquidated. The market makers are playing a big game here. The news, the narrative, the way you analyze the market, you see whatever it's bullish. Then you actually see something like this coming out. I'm like, okay. And we were like, okay, let's actually see how things are evolving. And then you actually see something like this, where it states, we are not clear whether that's true or not. So if that's true, then these news media outlets, they try to push a panic event. And now when we go back in the market, we're watching Bitcoin just touch $25,000, close to that. And right now it's close to 27,000, which means we kind of bounced $2,000 back up. If you look at Ether, something similar. We went down close to 1,560, and then what happens? You bounce back. We are $1,000 above, and all of that's happening in few hours. If you look at XRP, it went down to 0.42, now trading at around 0.5. So what's this all about? As I've been telling you guys, this is huge bluff by the market makers. They really don't want you, me, and others to make money in this market because they don't like that. Ether just did this, right? It actually went all the way down and then boom, it come back up. It's trading somewhere here. That shows you the amount of strength of those guys who are buying this. And that's exactly what we were talking about for like a couple of days, saying, watch this. And asking that, saw this coming. And now I'm also surprised because I didn't see this depth in a lot of different assets. I was expecting maybe 10%, but some of these assets actually dropped 20. But opportunities are huge in the market, and we did seize some of those. Welcome to the Scientific Investor family, where the normal retail guys get to learn how to become the next top 10% of this world. As we are watching the price action right now, you know what the market is showing you. Bitcoin still has some room to the downside on a weekly chart. Then you go on a daily. And whenever you see something like this, historically speaking, whether it's last 1 year, whether you go back 5 years, that happens to be a huge opportunity. And it shows you like there is a 20% drop, there's a 24% drop, there's a 25% drop. And at this point, if you buy, you're buying somewhat at the bottom of that drop. That's the local bottom. Then you go back up. That's the local bottom. Then you go back up. If that's true historically, that means you come on the same horizon right now and you're watching that the price is doing something similar. Should it be different this time around? I doubt so. I really doubt so. Because you actually have the market showing you a hidden divergence, which is important here. Because at this point, if you are looking at this on a macro chart, whether it's on a daily, whether it's on a 3-day, if you avoid the noise, this is what you're watching. And for me, that means, yeah, that was a huge bluff by the market makers. What am I talking about? Look at this scenario. It's hidden, but it's a bullish divergence. What is that? RSI shows you that the strength is reducing, but the price does not agree with that. Or in other words, there's a lot of sellers pushing the market to the downside, but the price is not going to the downside. So what have they really done? The market makers have pushed in the narrative, sell, and the retailers are running for exits, and the other side, the whales, they're buying because they believe this is a huge opportunity. When you look at these price points saying, okay, that just bounced off a huge level, keep this in mind. If you actually take a step back, that level tends to show you there is some support. And right now when the price action is taking that support at that zone, it's interesting. You went down, but you're still holding on to that level. We told there is some weakness forming in Ether and be cautious way before all this drama started. And then when it was going down, I'm like, that doesn't actually look good. Why? You had two trends. One, a micro, which was broken at that point. And then you have another one, which is medium term. So if you want to come to the support range before you bounce, that's close to 1,400. We came close to 1,550. So we still have some room to the downside in that sense. And if you actually look at Bitcoin, say you take a weekly chart, what do you see is happening here? One of the coolest things to keep in mind is that this is a bluff. So you need to understand whenever that bluff happens in the market, you need to follow the direction of the short-term moving average. Keep that in mind. Don't get confused. Here, the short-term is 21, which is blue. So I'm using exponential moving average. Look at this area. We have talked about this in this channel for a long period of time. So why should this be different at this point in time? Look at this. Last time when the short term was crossing to the downside, you actually got the price moving in the opposite direction. But then it follows the short term direction and it follows that trend. Which direction are we looking at now? The short term is showing I'm about to go to the upside. It's moving to the upside. Now, I've placed it 90 here as the long term because I was still checking through the weekly, the monthly to identify where it gets more support on a macro and on a micro. Now, different people use different stuff. Some says, okay, use 100. And I'm like, okay, it's completely up to you, but it's not changing. It's at the exact same point. If you go back in history, you will watch that at this point when we were crossing to the upside somewhat here, we had a bluff here. And if you try and measure that, you'll actually see that the price dropped somewhat like 20%. And then it went back from that 7,500 all the way back up to 14,000. So are we about to do 100% run up? Because if we actually look at what we have done, we've actually dropped till this point where it's 21% drop. Why is that so important and why am I highlighting that? Go back in history and look at this. That's interesting. I mean, if that's exactly what's happening, then these are true. I mean, it's literally true. It's actually 6x up. We were saying, okay, that's moving up against Bitcoin. That's already expecting a move of 8 to 12x and we are up 6x already. So that means that's a huge month and it's a big week, 400% a week. So some of these random assets are pumping and I try my best to find those and give it to you guys before they actually start those massive run up. So when you're in the market and the market itself is showing you this signal, keep in mind that's going to be a huge move. Now, this is what we have now in XRP. I know most of you are here just for XRP, but keep this in mind. At first, when you look at this, that's bearish. We just broke through that. I also felt like that, but at that point, I wanted to backtest this. I wanted to see if this is happening, what's coming next. Because the RSI is breaking to the downside, but the price is saying, nah, Baba, I'm going the other direction. I don't agree with you. And I'm like, okay, what do you see? And the price kind of says you like, nah, I don't care about the RSI. I'm taking support here. And it's trying to hold on to that level. That's exactly where the hidden divergence comes in. So Bitcoin is showing that. XRP is showing that. And I'm like, okay, that is great signal if we are watching that. But yeah, we need to see what happens historically speaking. We had this event and that was the exact fake out where the market makers decided like, let's push these retailers out. Let's flush these guys out. And historically speaking, I remember, a lot of people sending me a lot of different clips from a lot of different YouTubers, the big guys, the small guys, all of them. Majority, the big guys were saying, XRP is not about to participate in this bull run, get out. And that was like the price was around 0.16, 0.17. What happens? The price run up 10x, more than 10x at that point. So if that's what we had back in the day, let's see what the price action is doing in next 10, 15 days. Because if that's true, then what we are looking from this point onwards is a run up like this, but on a macro scale. Why am I highlighting that? Last time when that run up came, you didn't have a lot of exchanges listing XRP because SEC just delisted it, right? But this time around, it's different. And the drop doesn't look something similar. But yes, the indicators kind of give you that narrative of where you're going, and you go on a monthly. And the monthly kind of shows you like, okay, we are still at this level. The MACD is still bullish and the price action is still holding on to that level. What's the range of retest where we should hold this month? This is that level. We are testing that range right now. So if the price actually managed, now next 13 days, say 2 weeks, if the price just managed to break back above 0.55, that's ultra bullish. That's something like this. You consolidate, you pop. You may consolidate, you pop. When the price does those kind of movements, if you're in the market and you've been heavy, you're trading, take your profits. Because if not, it can go against you emotionally. Because if you're not prepared to look at the market and say like, okay, I think there is going to be some kind of bluff in the market, I think this is coming, then the issue is you can be in this group where you go in leveraged, where you see things happening. Big guys out there will say, okay, run onto it, buy that. Back in the day when, people were asking me, should I buy PayPal? I was like, I think it's going to come back down. And at that time, there was a lot of big guys saying, okay, this is a huge buy. That was back then around 67, 70 range. And I was saying, no, I think it's going to come back down, the fundamentals. And I was talking about a lot of different things. Now it dropped. So in the meantime, the 6-7 months, it really felt like I'm wrong. But now it's back at that price point. So whether it's the stock market, whether it's the crypto market, because we have a lot of institutions in the crypto market right now. That's why we are acting more like that. The manipulative side of the crypto is working heavily. So the trend line, we were looking at the momentum. We told you, look at this. We are holding on to that. Now we're coming back to this. So we didn't actually hold on to a higher momentum level. We dropped. But we are now at this territory where it's a massive buy opportunity. And that's what exactly we were talking for the last couple of days. What changed in the market? This changed in the market. Now, this goes back to what we just talked about on a daily chart. You watch how the price action works here. You watch how that macro bluff flush happens before the real run up comes in. Last time, we didn't have all those exchanges. This time, we do. So the run up, when it actually starts, the FOMO, when it actually comes in, is going to be heavy. It's going to be healthy for those who hold on at this point. But if you're chasing the green candles, when you see these kind of pops, it usually does not end up really good. And that's one of the reasons why I try to go through these. Because when I told this initially, I'm sure not a lot of people, even those who are following me, thought this is coming. Because a lot of other guys were saying, this is a 200-day moving average, we're bouncing. And they were sending me the screenshots, the clips. I'm like, everyone has their opinion. But I think we're going to drop. Because I think if that's what is being fed to hundreds of thousands of people, whales and the financial institutions are going to use that and go against it so that they can create more liquidity and buy at the bottom. That's exactly why I told a bluff in this region. Now, where are we? This is where we are. So it's not a crystal ball. No one knows what's going to happen. What you're trying to do is to go through the price action, history by history, level by level, and learn from that. If you get that ability, now, you are doing something in the market which the vast majority is not doing. That means as soon as the price starts bouncing, you will see a lot of other people claiming, I told you this is going to happen. But, how many of them really did tell you that's exactly what's going to happen? Because these are news which should actually push the price to the upside, popping through the roof. But we are not watching that instead. We are watching the price dropping like this? Because Bitcoin just shit in its bed. Because, the market makers didn't want you, me, and others to push that narrative. But then we actually get news like this. Ether is getting a green light. First ever US approval for a futures ETF for Ether. That's surprising. And that's what we were saying. Like, I didn't know what's happening, why this will happen, no idea. But last time we talked about something like this, those who have watched us clearly know why we called it. At this point in time, there was a lot of people saying it's breaking the support. Don't look back. You're dropping towards $10,000-$12,000. But I was giving you the exact opposite thing. I was saying we're going to get a V-shaped recovery. Now, all the dates are logged in. It's YouTube, right? You go back few months, March 10, and you look at the video by March 10, 12, you will see even the thumbnail would be something like, the V-shaped recovery is coming. In a week, it was completed. You went up. So if the market does something like that this time around, I wouldn't be surprised. Why? Because we saw that couple of times in the market. Here, it's happening in a consolidative level. Price went up, price went up, price went up. The 1, the 2, the 3 micro moves, and you're consolidating there. We want to see whether this is a distribution or a reaccumulation. If it happens to be a reaccumulation, the upside from here is going to be parabolic. And at that point, the macro bounce, which we just talked about, becomes so clear. And you really don't want to miss those kind of opportunities, do you? And if you think that's true, you don't want to miss those opportunities, I would actually ask you a favor. Just smash that like button. And if you are looking for things like this on the right time for you to know what exactly is going to happen, what has the higher odds, because no one knows what's going to happen. It's all probability. And in that game of probability, if you want to stand ahead of the curve, if you want to avoid the mass, look at the link. Patreon is given in the description below. And this time I'm trying to make sure the concerns which you guys actually highlight in the group, in the comment section in the YouTube, is looked at. Say, yeah, the price is this because it's one human being. But say here it's 106. But if you actually click this, what happens is it's now dropping to 89. The same goes for all the other tiers. And I've actually opened free trial for this tier onwards because one-on-one session, it's only me, right? I only have 24 hours and a lot of other things to do. So we're scheduling all this now, right now, going through a lot of different people, discussing through the macro, the micro, the different structures which they have in their portfolio. Some of them have a lot of assets. 50, 60 assets towards 700 assets is so much. Some of them have well-balanced portfolio, 10 to 20 assets in all different categories. It's actually about you. It's actually about your portfolio and how you look for your future. So yes, I'm trying to help as much as I can because this run up, I believe, is something we really don't want to miss. This run up is where we really want to take that profit. Remember, I gave you guys this idea that when the MACD was trying to cross to the upside, the market does a bluff. The market don't want you to make profit easily. They will do that every single time. Whether it's the monthly cross, whether it's the weekly cross, whenever you actually see those, understand they don't want you to make that money easily. So you have to stand ahead of that curve. So guys, again, smash that like button. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.